Today the garden show is going to school. We are at O'Laughlin Elementary School today, and we're here to bring the 5th graders some redbud trees. So come along and we'll go inside and see what's happening. We're here to find out about what trees do and to celebrate Arbor Day and to present to the 5th graders here a redbud tree, a seedling that they will get to take home today. And each and every one of them will get one, and not only that, every 5th grader in Hayes will receive a tree. So we're starting this week with coming on Monday to O'Laughlin, but other days, other people will be coming to other schools, and every 5th grader in Hayes will get a tree. We'd like to ask you what you think, or what you can think of, that trees provide. Why do we have trees? Yes?
Provide oxygen.
Oxygen, yes.
Paper.
Yes. Yes.
They provide a place for living creatures to make homes.
Absolutely, such as?
Birds and squirrels.
You bet. Did you have something?
Lumber.
Mm-hmm. We build houses from them. Somebody else? Yes?
Sometimes they provide food.
Food. What are you thinking about?
Like oak trees, like squirrels.
Okay. Or else if they're trees like apples or that sort of thing, they would provide food for humans.
Some trees, hummingbirds like to turn the nectar into flowers.
And birds in general, you bet. Let's see if we have some more on my teacher's guide. What about the roots? The roots would be holding the soil in place. It says fallen leaves and branches make soil richer in nutrients. That would be like composting. The leaves on branches and on the low ground, slow down collection of rainfall, which helps ground absorb moisture. And we would all like to have more trouble with the moisture, wouldn't we? Because we haven't had much of it. Wind breaks. Do you know what a windbreak is? Nobody?
That's what a windbreak is.
What do you think it is?
Is where it stops some of the wind from getting to you.
Absolutely. Like farmers like to have windbreaks because it keeps their ground from blowing. Does anybody have any questions? We must have been very thorough.
Oh, I think we were.
So, we'd like to say thank you again for allowing us this time, and thank you to the teachers for allowing us to come. And I hope that you will find a place that you can put your tree, and as time goes by, it will grow up and give you enjoyment. So, thank you very much for letting us come. We will continue this show at the dog park on Thursday, where we will be celebrating the Arbor Day.
Steve Riot, exhausted. We have the technology at Tech Edge to make him better than he was before. Get your geek on at Tech Edge. Register now.
Keeping your budget on track and having the things your family needs are often top of mind. Now, quality wireless service doesn't have to be a budget buster. Introducing the $40 unlimited smartphone plan from Nex-Tech Wireless. Enjoy unlimited data, texting, and calling for just $40 per month. There are no contracts required or overages to worry about. Certain restrictions apply. See store for details. Ask about the $40 unlimited plan and start saving today. Nex-Tech Wireless. Say hello to something different.
Did you know that most people's internet connections are too slow? Wondering if yours is? Just answer these simple questions. Do you have more than 3 connected devices to the internet? Do you stream video over your internet connection? Do you occasionally notice lagging? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you need to come see Nex-Tech about a speed upgrade so you can experience the full benefits that fiber technology has to offer. Nex-Tech, our products and people are here for you.
Restaurants, gyms, salons, libraries, and more. Nex-Tech has over 100 free Wi-Fi hotspots to keep you connected.
Well, we're at the dog park for the garden show, and it's an exciting day with all the kids around. And we've just witnessed the planting of the tree with Jeff and the kids, and that was an exciting time because they even got to help him. So I'd like to introduce to you the Director of Parks for Hayes, Jeff Boyles, and have him tell you a little bit about how he is going to talk us through planting a tree. So welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Yes, so we had a great time here with all the kids. I think they really enjoyed planting the tree, and quite honestly, that's what it's all about. If you get the kids involved and they're actually enjoying what you're doing, makes it all worthwhile. Of course, we all know the importance of trees, so I think the kids will take home a message with them today that, you know, it is important to plant trees. And we did plant one tree. We had a large group of kids. It was kind of difficult to get everybody around the tree, and I think they're running out of time here and have to head back to class. But we do have another tree here to plant yet. I was going to kind of go through that process and just give everybody a quick idea of best way to plant trees, some things to look out for, and just kind of go from there.
All right.
What we have here today, we're planting 3 Accolade elms. These are a hybrid elm of the American elms that do so well around here until, of course, back in the 80s when the Dutch elm disease hit, they took a little bit of a beating. But these are actually Dutch elm resistant varieties of a tree very similar to the American elm, and these particular ones are called Accolade elms. And so what we're going to do, we're out here at the dog park. We're going to finish this off with this last tree, and I'd like to give everybody a demonstration of how we plant trees and why we do certain things when we plant trees, and that way they have the optimal success rate. So kind of go through that process now. Now I might have you help me with that.
All right.
Okay, the first thing we're going to do here, we got us a hole dug. One of the worst things you can do is plant a tree too deep. So what Ron and Dave and Mark have done here, they've gone through and they went down into this tree root and they took out, it looks to me like about 4 inches of dirt here to find the very first flare root, which is the first root coming off the tree. Ideally, that root needs to be at or slightly above the ground level. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take it out of here, set it down in the dirt. By the way, we have already cut some of the roots because they were beginning to girdle, so we tried to straighten those out a little bit with a knife. But I'm going to set it down in here with my little magic stick, and I can see that I'm at least probably 4 inches too low. So I'm going to pull it back out, put a little dirt in there until we're at the right level. Just a little bit.
And when the kids were doing this with Jeff, they helped put the dirt in, and I'm not a game player, I guess. Sorry.
That was, yeah, that didn't take us long to fill the hole in with all the kids helping.
That's right.
Okay, so what we've done here is we've added dirt in our hole to make sure that this tree is at the right level. This represents a ground level. Our flare root is dead in line with this, so that's a pretty good depth to be planting this tree at. So I'll pull the thing out of the way. I'll center the tree in the hole, and I'm going to start putting the dirt around it.
So I truly believe that was a learning experience for more than just the kids, knowing that the placement of the tree to properly plant it, because in the past people have said, oh, I should dig a big hole, but that isn't really the case, because am I not right, Jeff, that the roots go out instead of down?
Typically roots want to go out because your soil moisture on trees, they know it's going to be within the top 6 to 8 inches of the soil. That's where they know it's, let's put it this way, that's where they know it's going to be routinely placed unless you're in the middle of a drought.
Yes.
Some trees do put out what a lot of people call a taproot. There's some debate on taproot discussion on most trees. A lot of trees don't have what's actually called a taproot, but that's a whole nother discussion in and of itself. Roots want to go find water, and they'll do whatever they can to go find water. So without water they can't live, obviously, and so we've seen some pretty wild root situations here in Hayes when we've had to remove trees. So the very next and probably the most important step after this tree's kind of been moved around and taken out of its home in the bucket is we've got to get some water on this tree. Ron's got a couple of buckets here. We're going to go ahead and lightly soak the tree and just let that water kind of work its way down, give those roots what they want right now.
And I can see the guys are already making that ring around,
They are
so
already,
the water will stay right
right
to the tree.
What the guy, and I'm glad you brought that up. We like to make these dirt rings around the trees because it helps hold the water up against the tree and not have it run out onto the ground. When the kids were here, I was discussing you don't have to do this, especially in a yard setting where you're home every night and get a little extra time on your hand. You can get the garden hose out, water it in a little bit. But with the Parks Department, we have, sometimes 50 to 100 trees to try and get watered in a day. We can't stand around for 30 minutes per tree. So we have to build these rings to help hold that water in place so that we can move on to the next tree right away. And as you can see, the water's not going anywhere. It's going right where the tree wants it.
Exactly.
So which is why we do that. That is an option in most households, at most home settings anyway, because again, you're home every night or typically home every night and typically have a little more time to do that kind of thing. If you're a very busy homeowner and you don't have time, I would highly recommend the tree ring. So the next thing we're going to do now, Dave's putting some stakes in. This is going to be to hold the tree in place. Another thing, notice how straight up and down that tree is. We always try to make sure that the tree is straight up and down when we plant it instead of leaning over and those sort of things. But we're going to go ahead and stake this tree right now to hold it in the Kansas winds that we have out here. Okay, now what Ron's got here is some wires with a rubber, sort of a rubber tubing on it. And that rubber tube is designed, first off, we're only going to have these on for about a year. In that year's time, we want a soft material to be up against that tree, not a piece of bare wire, because this will eat right through a tree like a chainsaw. When the tree's trying to move, that little thin stuff, it's hard, it won't give, it'll just eat right through the tree. So we always put a piece of protective tubing. You can use garden hose, an old garden hose, any type of old hose you may have to feed through your wire. But this is what we use. We use tubing that kind of stationary. It gets on the wire and kind of stays in place and doesn't move around on us. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to tie these trees off with the wire in 3 different directions. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us the opportunity to hold that tree straight up and down, and regardless of which way the wind's blowing, that tree's not going to move. And over the next year, because of the way we have it staked here, over the next year those roots will go ahead and work their way through the soil, out into the soil, and produce a nice base, sort of like we take for granted our feet and legs. It kind of works like feet and legs. It holds you upright, keeps your balance up. That's what these wires are doing to do. And about this time next year, we will pull these off because the tree should be good to go, and we won't have to have these on anymore.
And I noticed you didn't pull them you're not going to pull them real tight.
No, you do not want to pull them too tight. You just want them to give enough support to that tree to keep that tree from falling from side to side and back and forth. If you overdo it, you could actually, as the tree's growing, you could actually start getting bark trying to encumber the wires and those sort of things, so we don't want to do that.
One of the things the kids pointed out a while ago is that if there are any tags or tapes or anything on the tree, that it would be important to take that off.
Yeah, I was impressed. That was a great group of kids.
Too.
Excellent questions. One of them did, in fact, ask or mention that there's tape on the tree. And at the time, I hadn't looked up into the tree canopy yet. But lo and behold, there was 2 sections of tape on the tree, and And I'm glad he brought that up because we don't want to leave that on the tree. That can actually girdle the tree. When I'm saying girdle, it wants to hold its position, and as the tree's getting bigger and bigger, if this thing holds its position, it will cut off the water and food supply to the tree. So that's not a good thing, and I'm glad he pointed it out. So we removed it immediately as soon as we were done, and this one here actually doesn't have any on it that I can see without, of course I haven't looked real hard yet, but this one looks like we're in good shape here. The next thing we're going to do, one of the most important things again that we can do is to mulch the trees. What this does is it acts as a barrier between the sunlight and the wind and the soil, and it helps hold that moisture around that tree. And these are wood chips that we have at the Parks Department. They're free to the public. Anybody can come get them. That's where these came from. And this is what we use them for. Again, it's one of the best things that we can do for this tree. And one of the important things about mulching, when you do go around a tree, you don't want to go build it up really high around the tree. You want to make sure that the flare root that we talked about early on is still somewhat exposed right here around the tree. And then you want to try and keep it, 3 or 4 inches deep at the most out around the tree. And again, when we water this, that moisture is going to go down into the soil, and then this will act as a sort of a blanket or a shield to keep that moisture in there. So we will buy several more days of water holding capacity just by having these in there. And so we do this with all of our tree plantings. Very important. And a homeowner should do this as well. It's no different. And so again, and these are free at the Parks Department, so you can come down and get them anytime you want.
And that's really important for you because, as you said, you have many trees around town that you are taking care of. And it's a water truck that comes and waters them.
Right.
And so you can't have access to water very often at the location.
Right, and that's one of the issues we deal with is we don't always have water there. And so we do a lot of tanking in with our bigger trucks, and we're kind of remote out here at the dog park today, and this is a good example of that. We don't have water just readily available here to come go around water trees. And so we do the best we can with our tank trucks, and again, that's why we put the dirt rings in. Now, I will add one thing. If you're out in a farm setting or a rural part of the community here, and I'm bringing this up because we're at the dog park as well, if there's a possibility of animal damage, you want to go ahead and put some cages around these trees.
Oh, sure.
And so we haven't got our cages all prepared yet, but we do have cages out here, and we will be putting those around the tree. Just to keep the dogs off of them. And I know we've had some issues out here at the complex with deer, so we had to start putting some cages around our trees at the complex as well.
Okay, here they come. Maybe we can see
Yeah,
them.
here we go.
Yeah, we'll have to grab another one. Then they can see anyway.
Well,
That was
this
good.
is a demonstration of how it will look, and they might have to have one just a little bit longer to fill in the side here, but well, a good idea and a good demonstration from you, Jeff, and your workers.
Well, Ron and Dave and Mark have made it easy on me. They had the holes dug and the trees here and everything ready to go for me, so I didn't do a whole lot, but basically we need to let everybody know the importance of planting trees the right way, and I hope that we've done that today. And
You have, exactly. And it's been very educational, and I'm sure that people watching will get good tips on how to plant their trees, whether they're little or big. Well, thank you very much for being part
Appreciate
of the program.
You betcha. Thank you very much.
You can have all the channels in the world, but without the network to deliver the signal, you've still just got TV. At Nex-Tech, we've got the channels, HD, video on demand, TV everywhere, and we have the fiber network for you, because we've got these guys. And these guys. And these guys. And these guys. Nex-Tech. Our fiber network, products, and people are here for you.
Restaurants, gyms, salons, libraries, and more. Nex-Tech has over 100 free Wi-Fi hotspots to keep you connected.
Keeping your budget on track and having the things your family needs are often top of mind. Now, quality wireless service doesn't have to be a budget buster. Introducing the $40 unlimited smartphone plan from Nex-Tech Wireless. Enjoy unlimited data, texting, and calling for just $40 per month. There are no contracts required or overages to worry about. Certain restrictions apply. See store for details. Ask about the $40 unlimited plan and start saving today. Nex-Tech Wireless. Say hello to something different.
Earlier this week, we were at Olafin Elementary School where we presented redbud trees to the 5th graders. And during the week, all of the 5th graders in Hayes will receive a redbud tree. So that's in connection with Arbor Day. And now today we were at the Arbor Day celebration at the dog park. And I have found a book that is called A Tree is Nice. And this was written in the early 1950s, but I think it is a timeless book. It's for children, but children's books are always for adults. And in this book, the author says that leaves are on trees and they whisper in the wind and you can rake them in the fall, and they have limbs to climb, and some of them produce fruit like apples that you can eat. And it's a way for cats to get away from dogs, and birds can build nests, and you can have swings or have picnics under them. You can have shade for your house or your animals. You can have them for windbreaks. And it's just nice to plant them and watch them grow. So I think that our lesson on planting trees and our presenting trees to 5th graders and just enjoying trees in general is a nice tribute to Arbor Day. And we appreciate all of you watching, and we hope that you will join us again as we bring to you the Garden Show. And thank you for watching.